Okay, hey, welcome back, hitchhikers. This seems like the end of the road, the end of our journey. I am the hijacker, and we're traveling down the DC universe along its highway into this corner of the CW. And I got to tell you, we're coming up to the rest stop for the last time for this particular season. Last time was Stargirl, the finale. Now, I can't tell you how saddened I am because I totally enjoyed watching on a weekly basis the episodes of Stargirl, the young JSA, the old JSA, the ISA, and the Seven Soldiers of Victory. For a DC head like myself, I got to tell you, it's just been fantastic just watching this series. So first of all, let's break it down, and then let's follow up a little bit afterwards onto what the predictions are for season two, and also trying to solve the time anomalies that has been going on in this show. I've noticed a lot of different and anachronistic elements. Anyway, Stargirl. It opens up 3 minutes ago, where they want to pick up on our young Isaac, the fiddler or the tuba for now, um, who has taken on his mom's advice to take on the school bully. And I loved how the camera craned down on this. It was a beautiful shot because it just tell you how cinematic this show takes its cinematography. But so Isaac has taken on his bully. Teacher breaks it up and says, how would your mother feel about this? And he's like, well, my mom told me to do it and everything. And I don't think he has heard, because it's only 3 minutes ago within the time frame since his mother was killed. I don't think he knows it yet, because the teacher wants to take him to the mom as well. So, but then something happens. Excuse me. The ground opens up, and it's revealed that on the 50-yard line, it's right underneath that cerebral tunnel or whatever, where the big satellite dishes, the SETI satellite dishes, rises up to do its final calculation of mind mapping on the community of not just Blue Valley but 6 other states. And it's a really nice and beautiful shot. Everybody's just kind of like amazed at what's going on, what's happening. And then we pick up back to Stripe and Stargirl, into their fight where Courtney is trying to convince Pat, what are you doing? What are you doing? And he is possessed, as he was from last episode. So Pat is fighting it, which we all know that you're not supposed to fight it, but he's fighting, the brainwave. And Courtney is trying to tell him how, like, pretty much how she loves him. you know um it's a sad moment, like, I'm your daughter. And it stops him, but that only could really lead to killing him, actually. you know because they said resistance is futile. And everything. And so Beth comes up with the idea that they must she doesn't, well, Chuck does, with the idea that they must have earplugs or blockers in their ears. And they need to find a way to stop the blockers. And what's funny is that while she's trying to come up with this plan, the gambler is just like, chatting away at her. It's like playing cards, showing his poker face. Even though he's doing this whole like mad Bond villain kind of thing, stroking the cat. So anyway, everybody's like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And it's up to Beth, and she comes up with the idea, wait a minute, I couldn't hear you guys, so maybe there's something stopping it. And so there are blockers in the tunnel, and they had to stop those blockers and everything. To bring Pat and Justin online. Sorry, guys. I only just watched it. Why am I so confused? Anyway, also I love the little shout out when Yolanda is trying to get Justin to wake up. She says, "You're the silent night," and Rick goes, "The shining night," and everything. But the Silent Night was another old school hero from that time, so that's a great Easter egg shout out, and everything. So they get, Pat and Justin online, um and everything, and Jordan decides that, okay, let's take the fight to them, right? And so he pulls in the ISA, and it's like we're taken back to the beginning, you know, um, such as like when Sportsmaster, I think, goes deja vu or something like that, and everything. So Sportsmaster, Tigress, Icicle, thankfully, the gambler didn't come out in his gambler outfits. And everything to take on the JSA, and that's where we get that big running together lineup shot. Marvel made it best, but this is good, strong second, because it's kind of like when Civil War did it. I mean, Justin shooting ice blasts and tigers flying through the air and all that kind of stuff. Dragon King is also in there as well. So they're kind of like fighting their opposites, as they usually would do when they would have those JSA battles. You take on the person with similar powers and everything. But even Gambler realizes, okay, I'm going to bring in some reinforcements, and he opens up the door to Solomon Grundy's room and everything. So all of this is happening while Brainwave is still, connected to the machine. We actually see what the machine is doing to the populace. So we get this great panning shot of everybody all standing still, right? They did it on Twilight Zone recently. And seems like there's only one little girl. That was really kind of weird that there's only one little girl, but only one little girl trying to wake her daddy up, who's frozen. And Jordan comes along. Now, as he comes along, he walks by that famous movie theater that we always see with Easter egg titles. So today's movie is The Haunted Tank. And if anybody can remember The Haunted Tank, Jeb Stewart and the General, the Ghost of the General and everything like that, which was a great comic. But the posters, the first one we see is GI Combat. So GI Combat was also part of that whole DC World at War series, then there was Prez, who wasn't a superhero, but he was kind of like I guess, a DC version of Archie, because he was the big man on campus and everything like that. Those kind of stories. And I forgot what the last one was. But yeah, so look at that. When Jordan walks by, all of those posters are actual Easter eggs to old characters and stuff like that. So he tried to tell the little girl that when your daddy wakes up, he's going to be better. He's going to be good. And she's like, my daddy's already good, you know give the girl a give a girl a cookie. I mean, it was fine, and everything. So that that happened. I know I'm kind of like going out of order and everything, but the fight sequence was once again awesome, especially Huntress and Tigress, and you know Courtney was going Icicle was going up against Stripe. Yeah, and this now I will admit, you know, this was a big action sequence. We waited for this. But I could say, if I had to have a little gripe, I could say I was seeing some of the stunt people in this fight, but I don't care. And there was an awkward shot of Stripe, going towards Icicle, but it was one of those splash pages, so it was like, look, man, just look at it for the art. Just look at it for the art. It was fantastic. So it was like wondering how. Oh, right. So then it was like, how do we distract the gambler? And I think it was Chuck. No, it was Beth, who realizes, let's go for what he really loves, which is his money. And he's like, what? you know, and they started to, you know, drain his offshore accounts and send it to charity. And that was like really funny as he tried to stop them, because I was thinking that that's kind of like a interesting thing, that the gambler is a digital hacker, because you know, gambling online is a really huge thing, especially in America. You know, and you know, there's got to be some people always thinking that there's some kind of swindle in the Bitcoin and all of that. But you know, so it was interesting that, you know, he's a gambler and he's online. You know, it's like you don't see him, but he's just behind the thing, just taking your money, you know, and making money. So for her to give it back, you know, was like good vengeance and stuff, you know. So that was good. So then, you know, like you know, during the fight, because Justin is taking on the dragon. I will fight this dragon, you know, and it's a shame, you know, they had to leave Justin in the how scraggly beard janitor outfit, you know, thinking that maybe we wouldn't want to see the actual Shining Knight as a knight. I did, but hey, whatever. But during that fight, the door to Shiv's room gets broken, and so see little claws come out, then you know somebody's gonna join this fight. But whose side is she gonna be on? So when Justin um is he probably has some of his faculties, but like the thing about it is he's still not up to par. So, you know, the Dragon Lord was able to take him down, and as he's about to deliver the final blow, you know, he's stabbed from behind by, yes, Shiv. She shivved him in the back, you know, welcome to prison there, Dragon Lord. You know, so she's taking out her daddy and like saying, like, you shouldn't have locked me up, daddy. Yeah, right. But then, you know, we go back to the other fights, bang, 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 and everything like that. And, you know, to realize that, hey, look, we got to go, you guys got to go off to to the machine. But before that happens, you know, Solomon Grundy comes in and everything. And so it's like, oh my God, how are we going to take out Grundy? So, you know, Pat is like, I'll do it, right? Whatever. Then you go out the machine. So boom, he takes out Grundy. So big robot machine versus big monster. And I love that shot on Grundy when he roars. It's very much like the Incredible Hulk in the I think it was the Ed Norton version. You know what I mean? So I think, you know, hey, whatever, you know, we guys kind of take from each other. But you know, so when Courtney tries to head off to the machine, you know, Yolanda, you know, opens up the door, but that's when Shiv shows up. And for round two, I'm ready to fight again. So Courtney tells Yolanda to go off and everything, and she's going to take on Shiv. Pat's taking on Solomon Grundy, you know, and everything. And, you know, before, or I think it's, yeah, it had to be before that. So like before that, Courtney gets the idea that we're too evenly matched because we're facing off against the people that, you know, should be facing off against. So she does the usual comic trope of switch partners and everything, and she takes out both Huntress and Sportsmaster. You know, which was really cool. You know, so she does that before this one. So anyway, so then now she's taking on Shiv, and Yolanda goes down the hall, um, and Pat versus Grundy doesn't go down well, right? So I mean, at the end of the day, Pat is a robot, and we kind of like realize that when Grundy rips off his arm and beats him with it, then goes after the legs, and then, you know, opens up the chassis. But that was really cool. Like when he opened up the chassis and you see how small, you know, it's like a forced perspective. You know how small Pat was in that seat. That was really very fantastic shot. That. And you know, and the blood from Grundy's lips drips onto his face, and it's like, damn salivin dog. And then that's when Rick comes in and says, "My turn," and then he starts fighting off with Grundy and everything. And he tells Pat to go save your wife, you know, because Jordan was already warned to go off to stop that little girl. You know, he didn't say that meddling kid, right? The gambler didn't say that meddling kid, but stop that little girl. So then Jordan's like, okay, I'll go off and do that. So Yolanda is doing the hallway fight, but they realize, look, man, first of all, you know, we're not Marvel, we're not Netflix, so they could have done a great Marvel Netflix hallway fight with Yolanda versus the drones. We just cut away from that, but when we come back to it, there's one drone left, and like we got to also remember that Brainwave decides that loop the last 5 minutes, I got to go and help stop these kids and everything. So you're thinking, oh man, the brainwave just gonna come in and do, and do a big telepathic blast and stuff. But instead, one of the drones was revealed as Henry Jr. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. I nearly choked on my popcorn and I didn't have any popcorn. But you know, it was like Henry was like, oh, I was hiding out in here and everything, and my dad is evil. Let me tell you where he is. But what are your friends gonna do? And Yolanda's like, not a thought in mind. That was very quick. She just slices his throat. She's like, Henry's friends, not my friends, Henry's friends. And it's revealed that it was Brainwave creating an illusion, which we haven't seen him do that power, but you know he had that power, and everything, and slice his throat. So I think Brainwave's dead. I don't think we're gonna get Brainwave for season 2. It's a shame because it's a great actor, great villain, but obviously very OP. He's very OP and stuff. So for them to take on different battles in the next season, you know, there has to be sacrifices. I don't think Tigers and Sportsmaster are dead. They were just knocked out, really. Dragon King, who knows? He could be taken out because he was kind of like the puppeteer behind all of this. But now that we got all his tunnels and everything like that, he's not really needed, for season 2 either. So his end could be at an end as well. So anyway, so now Courtney comes into the tunnels, because she just says, F that, blast shift, like she did before. And she, will transform. She knows she didn't kill her like the first time. She thought, oh my God. Now she's like, blast. So when she joins up with Yolanda, it's like, what did you do? And Yolanda's like, I killed him. Now you got to remember that Yolanda actually had an argument with Rick earlier, because Rick, his whole motivation is, I'm going to kill Grundy. I'm going to kill Grundy. And she's like, killing is wrong. And he's like, why? Is it God think so? And then she's like, yeah. So we know she's religious and everything, but then to see that she just kills like that, there's going to be repercussions on that, and everything, definitely. So anyway, so they see the tower and everything, and yeah, and Courtney is like, yeah, I know, and everything, and she goes up because the staff is like, I could do it, and she goes up and she blasts the tower. But this is the first time that the town sees a heroic act. So the kids, in that school, they don't see Courtney because she's so far away. They just see the blast and everything like that. But they will know that there is a superhero in town and everything, and who could it be? So I could see how that could take off in season 2 and everything like that. So that was really good. So the tower comes crashing down and everything, and then Courtney and Yolanda get away and stuff. Um, Rick has his final battle with Grundy, and he only has 5 minutes left and everything, and he pummels and pummels Grundy to the point where Grundy is like, oh, no, no, don't kill me. He didn't say don't kill me, but he whimpers like a dog, like a wounded animal. And then, when Rick is about to deliver the final blow, it's like, come on, dudes, what are you gonna do? Are these kids gonna be killers and everything like that? And so, like, realizing that he's just an animal, he was just a beast that was let loose by the evil ones behind him. He doesn't kill Grundy. Instead, he lets him go. He's like, go and don't come back. And Grundy like whimpers off like a wounded animal and everything. And even Justin's like, you let go of the beast or whatever. And it's kind of like he now will be a calmer person because he all season he was just like this kid full of rage, and he's gotten that rage out now. You could tell and stuff. So Jordan ends up back at his office, now that Barber is free from the mind control and everything. He comes in, he's like, stupid little girl, whatever, blah, 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 right? And then he takes out Dr. Midnight by freezing the goggles, and so even, every time he screams, ah, and so she takes off the goggles, but they should have really probably just put something like ice burn around her face, whatever. I don't know why they didn't do that. They should have done that. And then he blasts her, right? With like kind of like, throwing icicles at her or whatever, and she blasts into the wall. And they should have also left some kind of residue of that. So now, what was strange about this is the fact that Jordan had no problem killing Joey Zabick, and other people. Why did he have a problem killing this girl? I can understand, his love and confused love and rage for Barbara. I can understand not wanting to take away Barbara's love of Courtney. But yeah, he for the character that he was, he should have actually killed Beth. But he didn't and everything, and he just kidnaps Barbara and turns into a mustache twirling villain, right? And so when Courtney and Yolanda show up, when Beth is just sitting there, saddened by the death of Chuck, she should have again had some kind of burn or some kind of frost or whatever on her chest. I mean, that really should have been covered, guys. I mean, second nitpick, I mean, I'm feeling like Eric's Reloaded here. Rant and review. It's not a rant and review, it's a big love review, but you got to nitpick when you got to nitpick. And those are really worthwhile nitpicks, by the way. So anyway, he goes up to the clock tower, right? It's of the same building and everything like that. And he's up in the clock tower trying to confess his love for Barbara and everything, how he would take care of Courtney and all that, how he's trying to save the world, but we can move. We could go anywhere we want to go, with those matte eyes, right? And then she's like, you're crazy. Like, oh, I'm not crazy, and like, love when he hugs her, but then he goes, but then I'm gonna just kill your daughter, and I'm gonna watch you burn, whatever, and then he's gonna push her off. So instead of freezing her, like when he's holding her, he could have just froze her to death right then and there. He attempts to push her off of the tower, but then bum bum bum. Then there's Pat. Hey man, you want me? I'm right here, right? And he's like, Pat, what you gonna do, bruh? You don't have your stripe. He should have called him. Look, Stripesy, what are you gonna do? Yeah, I would have loved that kind of line and everything. He's like, I'm gonna save my wife. It's like, oh, are you really? How you gonna do that? With our daughter. What? Star Girl comes up out of nowhere and kicks him in the back and stuff. And then like he goes against Barbara and everything. And then that's that final Stargirl icicle fight that we saw in the overall trailer and everything. So they're fighting. So even though he was able to freeze the staff when the staff was on his own, he was able to freeze it. Maybe because it didn't have her energy or didn't, her willpower. But so Jordan tried to do the same thing, but she manages to hold it back and everything. So all the kids, everybody gathered to watch and stuff. I mean the JSA, you know what I mean? And and then Courtney's like, you can't save America because you're too evil. Some kind of like crazy line like that. And so she blasts him, and then they both go off the roof. And Barbara gets tumbled off, and so Pat saves Barbara, right? She's dangling. And then Yolanda, Wildcat, springs out of nowhere, right? Flies right down. It's only about 2 floors, right? It's not that high, right? But flies down, manages to catch Courtney and land on her feet like a cat. Thought that was pretty cool. I mean, Courtney still hit the ground, but it was like, Yolanda shock absorbed it and everything. Jordan lands, a couple of feet away, and he's like half ice, half man and everything. And so then when they like, oh my God. He's up. He's like, he starts to power up. And then out of nowhere, a truck just comes in, and shatters him into pieces. Now, this usually happens in things, trucks out of nowhere, they just come up and kill people. But this time, this one was driven by our young Mike. So Mike had done something heroic at last. So when he says, "Hey, can I join the JSA now?" Perfect. That was perfect and everything. So, even though it was another kid killing somebody, killing is okay in this show and everything. So they all gather together. Corny hugs the little brother. The gang hug each other, and they all look up, and mommy and daddy are kissing. I saw mommy kissing Santa Claus. It's sweet. And then cut to, you know, oh yeah, no, not 6 weeks. So sometime later. So pretty much they are overlooking the football field, and Yolanda and Beth are still kind of shattered, by what had happened, the losses and the things that happened and everything. And but Rick is fine. Rick is like, Courtney's like, "You okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I think I am." He's calmer. He's a calmer person now and everything. And they figured that they will do something to help Chuck. Who knows? They can use the ring or fate or whatever and everything. Um I just want to say something about Chuck here though. Okay, no, I'll do that when I do that first thing. So anyway, so Justin is leaving. So where you going? I'm gonna go find my faithful steed, milady, and everything. And but I might also look for the other soldiers. And so Pat goes, "Yeah, let me know if you find them, because I would love to see them again." Now, how come Pat's never looked for the other soldiers? It's a really good question, but we're gonna get to that in a time anachronistic thing. But I do predict, I said it here first, we're gonna get to 7 soldiers in season 2. Definitely we're getting them. So off goes Justin. Now, when Justin returns, that he's no longer under that residual mind control wipe of Brainwave and Dragon Lord, he should return as Justin the Shining Knight, or at least shaven. I need to shave myself. So anyway, then we get to Christmas, 6 weeks later, and happy family. Now, what is cool, I don't know why this was all kind of like overdubbed. I don't know if they, decided to add the lines in later, in this tracking shot of the nice family home and stuff. But and I can understand why, Rick's there. He's like, "Hey, thanks for inviting me," because he got his bonehead dad as well as Yolanda. My family don't care about me too much anyway, so I'm good to have a family Christmas for my new family. And Beth, obviously, yeah, I want to hang out with you guys, but then how come her mom and dad are so fine with it? Beth has been, she's been tied to their ankles for so long, but maybe they're just happy that she got friends. So, and that gives them more time to themselves and everything. Um, and then it looked like Mike was going to actually start to eat properly. Where he said, "So you got some vegetables? Oh, I got a lot of vegetables on that." But he had a big like chicken leg that the dog took. He said, "Hey, give me that back." That was kind of funny. Then Courtney comes down and like she calls Pat over. And this is, I mean, it's a weird type of romance, isn't it? But she decides to give him the present that she was going to give her dad. What was it? 13 years ago? 10 years ago. And so I was kind of like wondering what's up with that present box. So again, back call to the beginning. you know um so he opens it, and it says world's greatest dad. Perfect. So she was going to call her bonehead dad world's greatest dad, and he probably would been like, yeah, okay, but now to give it to somebody who really feels it for her, It's just like, and when she hugged him, it's like the way she hugged Henry when she thought, I have a brother. This girl so much wants a family. She's so starving for her family and everything like that. And so that was a really great tender moment. I don't think you would have spotted it, but the cup that Barbara was drinking out of, I believe that said world's greatest mom. Zoom in on it, but I believe it says world's greatest mom. So they got matching cups, her and Pat and everything. Um, and then so the staff wants to go out for a walk or a fly and everything. So they go out into the winter wonderland of Blue Valley, which looks positively beautiful and everything. And she ends up, got the whole flag shot, again, a Marvel trope that DC is taking back and everything. And Stripe shows up, and they just look at each other, don't need to say anything, and everything. And it's like, hey, and then they'll go back, to nice family, dinner. And so that's when Mike brings out the camera, a very old fashioned camera, very 80s camera, Polaroid. It's like, hey, let me pull out the Polaroid to take this. Let me not do this on our phone and anything. And so that's another picture for the board. So that was Stargirl. Now, when then we go into the after credit sequences and stuff. So first one is the return of the shade. Now this is fantastic. I mean, they didn't show his face because they could get a different actor for it. But it's like, I told you it was folly. And so it's kind of like, now it's my turn, right? So even though the Shade turned into a hero, he was a villain and everything. So I think he will be villainous at first, and everything, reforming the ISA under his control and stuff like that. But that was a very good Easter egg in that one. And then, we're in the some kind of storage room that, if you notice the posters on the wall, it said William Zabka. So it was the magician or the wizard, excuse me, room. So like, so if you kind of like scanned around, you'll see like a crystal ball on the floor and all of that other kind of stuff. So okay, so all right, and the wizard and his wizard stick wand, you know, there was talk of it having an essence of its own, like being under control of something. So the wizard, like as in the comics, he dealt with real demons. So in doing that, the mysterious person or the woman, I'm thinking, whoa, could it be his wife? And is she not dead? And everything else like that. And it's revealed when she opens up this black box that she pulls out a purple crystal or indigo crystal diamond, right? Which is known as the heart of darkness and everything. And so when she lights it up and everything, we can see that it's Shiv and the diamond. She says, I see you, Eclipso. So she even name drops Eclipso. So obviously we know who our big bad of season 2 is, because if anybody knows Eclipso from the comics, Eclipso was a hero and a villain, because he was like one of those binary characters or schizophrenic characters. And so possessed by the god of wrath or something like that, like some really evil god. But then I can't remember the guy's name. I think it was Bruce or something like that, who had controlled it. So he was able to make it do good and everything. But then from time to time it would do bad. And there was a big crossover series where he would turn heroes and villains into the dark personalities of themselves. So that would be really cool. I'm wondering, like, how they're gonna do that, and do they wait till they get the seven soldiers back? Do they wait till they form the new teams? Do JSA get more members, before they do this Eclipso storyline? So it's like, it's interesting that it's here now, but I really don't think that they're going to pick up from the Eclipso thing. I think it's going to be that because they were jumping ahead in time, that it'll be that like a mid-season kind of thing, you know, and something that maybe even the Flash could help out with because he could be like the X Factor, like when he shows up and everything. Because actually, it's a really good idea for a DC crossover, Eclipso. Wow, that is a really good idea. To get everybody. Oh, damn! I said it first. That's a fantastic idea. Um, so then we get the last end credit where now you probably didn't notice this because we're wondering who this guy is, right? But Joe McHale looks like Joe McHale, even from a high on camera crane. But when I looked at it again, it's one, his car is blue and Pat's car is red. The hood actually had a rocket shape on the hood because his car was called the Star Rocket Racer, right? So, and because Pat didn't call his car that and everything, so that is probably the original Star Rocket Racer. So that's another Easter egg that you guys probably didn't know of. This is why you watch the show, and everything. And then he goes up to Pat's old house before he moved, and then he's like, Sylvester Pendleton, and also he's wearing red sneakers, so that was kind of also another nice touch, and everything. So Starman's alive. And so we thought that, when we heard about the Ted Knight drop, we thought that maybe we get Ted Knight, Jack Knight, or anything. But to get actual Sylvester Pendleton, what's interesting about this is that, you know, he would only probably still only be there and then leave, whatever, stuff like that. But he might actually take on the name Skyman instead of Starman, because he doesn't have the staff. So if he had to battle, make the staff make a choice between him and Courtney and stuff like that, and or whatever, and he just says, "No, you're the one, Pat. You found the worthy one. You actually did good for once," and everything. But then, so what are you going to do? Well, I guess I'm going to be Skyman and stuff like that. So that would be really interesting touch and everything. But also he could be involved in training the team as well. So um, I mean, yeah, this is really long. Sorry, it's just our last one in our last rest stop. But I just wanted to say one last thing about time. I really hope that they solve this issue because they purposely made it like Dr. Ito was born in 1901. These guys were around in the 40s. The Seven Soldiers were around before the JSA. You know, there's never any mention about how they're in today's time. Now, the thing is the fact that Blue Valley is an anachronistic in itself. Now it's just probably because, hey, well, this is the kind of town that likes those things like the diner or the soda jerks, the old fashioned movie theater. You know, now even though the thing with Yolanda happened, and they were using cell phones, that was really the only reference. It's kind of like they felt, well, okay, well, let's do this, but then after a while, let's not reference cell phones or that kind of communication thing. So that's why when Mike in this last thing pulled out the old Polaroid, I'm thinking, but most people will pull out their phone and everything and stuff like that. So it's just really, I'm thinking that they're going this an anachronistic route, and I think they have said they were in the 2000s at one point. And then they probably want you to forget that. So that's what I'm trying to say is I just think that there's no way Pat could have been 20 in 1940 and still be like he is now. So that would be 20, that'd be 80. That's 100 years. That's 100 years. You know, we're talking about from the 1940s. Oh, no, that's 60. Yeah, 80 years. Sorry. Well, yeah, but he'd be 100 years old. So there's no way. So there has to be a mention of something happened, not just to the JSA, but to the ISA that brought them forward in time. Um, and the other thing was too is when Brainwave was, was making the videotapes. and that they still had a VCR in the millennium in the 20 in the 2020 for Henry Jr. to watch the tapes. So I'm just kind of like something, and they are purposely making things anachronistic. But if it was the 40s, he wouldn't have had a video camera to make his diary tapes. So it's like, what is going on? And make a decision, please, please, please. Anyway, I gotta go because this has been going on really long. I want to thank you guys. Time to hop back into that truck, go back down the DC highway, and hopefully we'll be back. And I know that I definitely want to probably come back for Powers, not Powers. I called it Powers. The Boys in September. So I definitely want to do a full breakdown of The Boys in September. So I'll see you then. And until then, keep rolling.